Project 5 Milestone, um, with Samantha Vega, Daniel Lee, Alexander Kraus, and I'm Luther Bell. So this is the owner frame, and for the owner frame, we have first our labels for the owner to enter their ID, their license plates, the license plate, and the time, and then we put a submit button, and then we had a owner constructor, which basically where we added all those labels and JText fields and our button, and then we added our action listener to our button, which in the action listener we made variables ID, plate, and res that receives the owner's label and license and residency and puts it into a file called owner file. Um, the first little try thing basically creates the owner file, and then once the owner file is created, all the data gets put into the owner file. And for the client frame, it's basically the same setup. We have all our J labels and J text, and then we put it in the constructor. And for the client frame, we added setters and getters so that we can put it into our vehicle frame. And then this is our action perform class, and it basically does the same thing as the owner frame.
So for the vehicle controller frame, it basically does the same thing as the other two, except it's for two options for if you're gonna accept or reject the job. And as you can see, it has all the frame class frame stuff as usual, alongside the try to create a controller text file. And alongside that, we also have the user frame, which is just two buttons uh, for either your vehicle owner or job client, and those will respectively they redirect you to the specific job client or vehicle owner menus. And as you see here, this class is just what runs the program. So this is what initiates the demo, which Samantha will execute later.
Here we have our server class, and basically this class receives data from the client server, and it asks the user if they would like to accept or reject the job, or the client, my bad. And here's the client class, which sends the data to the server, and if the job is rejected, a message will come up and saying sorry, this job has been rejected, and if it's, a message will say congrats, the vehicle controller has accepted this job.
Hi, my name is Matthew Melio, and for this portion of the project, I was tasked with creating the server and the client Java classes, as well as debugging all the other code that was written. So for this one, we were able to get our input from the JFrame for the client and the owner to write to a text file, which is a big step considering we weren't able to do that the last time. So we got that working, and we will also be getting the information from that text file to be put onto the server as well.
We're going to demo the project. So we're going to run the user viewer class. Another window opens that asks if you're a vehicle owner or a job client. For this case, will be a job client. We'll enter an ID of 34, a job duration of 20 in minutes, and a job deadline of 50, also in minutes. We'll then submit it, and it'll say successfully wrote to the file. And now another window will come up that shows the client ID, the duration, and the deadline. It asks if we would like to accept or reject. We will accept. It shows the job in the array list, and it shows the client ID and the job. And you can also see that the elements of the queue show 20 and the file already exists, which is the client text file. And for the server client, we will run the server, and it is now waiting for the client to connect. We'll run the client. We'll press any key to initiate the job request. So we'll write OK. And now it asks if you would like to accept or reject this job. So we will accept it. The client receives the accept request. We then press any key again, and it says, congrats, the vehicle controller has accepted this job.
Okay.
Cool. And then, just, cut out all of the awkward parts.
Yeah.
And just add a cute little, end screen, like the end or something like that, so that it looks presentable.
Okay, yeah, and I have to add Matthews to it too.
Yeah. But other than that, good job. I feel like we probably made the most progress with this project than we did with any other one that we did, besides like easy one.